Hey Jason, we had a customer complain that the iced tea was really bitter. At the end of your shift, would you clean out that dispenser?
Sure, what should I use?
I don't know, use some bleach or that red stuff in the closet.
Okay.
There, thanks.
Sir, is there a problem?
Yeah, I didn't order the almond salad.
We don't have an almond salad. Their basil shrimp fettuccine was absolutely delightful. Yeah, that new restaurant over on 4th Street? I have never been this sick in all my life. I'm sure it was the basil shrimp fettuccine. Oops, gotta go.
Whether by chemicals, objects, infestation, or foodborne pathogens, the food you prepare and serve can be contaminated and become dangerous to your guests and your coworkers. Many food service operations take food safety and sanitation lightly, but when they do, it means sick and absent staff members, health department scrutiny and/or fines, lost customers, negative word of mouth, lost business, which all leads to one thing. Eventually, a restaurant that goes out of business with economic hardship and lost jobs. According to the USDA, foodborne illnesses affect more than 6 million people each year, resulting in up to 9,000 deaths, and an economic cost of between $9 and $12 billion. Food and beverages make a long journey from their source to your kitchen and restaurant tables, and unfortunately they can become contaminated at many points and in many ways. In this program, we'll look at preventing contamination by objects or chemicals, infestation by pests, and biological contamination by foodborne pathogens. We'll show you the key steps you can take in receiving, storing, preparing, and serving food that will help keep you and your guests safe. Physical contamination happens when an object or substance contacts or falls into food being prepared or served. This type of contamination can affect guest satisfaction, cause injury, or poisoning. Remove excess jewelry before working in a food preparation or service area. This includes finger rings, facial piercings, large earrings, fake fingernails, or fake eyelashes. We all have a story of a guest who's found a hair in his or her soup.
Proper headwear is required in all food preparation areas. Off-the-street hats should not be used in the kitchen. Staff must wear clean, work-only hats that prevent hair loss. And if you have long or loose hair or a beard, you must wear a hairnet.
For service staff, a hat may or may not be required, but for the sake of neatness and sanitation, pull back or secure long or loose hair. When carrying a tray on your shoulder, make sure that your hair does not contact or fall into the food or beverages you are carrying. Cover food containers whenever you are not preparing or serving. Gravity never rests, and an uncovered pot, bin, or bowl is an easy target. Bugs are always attracted to heat and light. Change bulbs in the kitchen or service area after hours, being sure to cover all food surfaces and containers, then clean if necessary. Your food service operation also has dozens of chemicals on site that can cause sickness and even death, or at the very least, change the taste, odor, or appearance of food. Never store cleaning fluids or chemicals in or near food storage areas. Have a separate closet or cabinet for these substances. Never use food containers to store chemicals. Make sure all containers are clearly labeled, and read the label before use to understand how and how much to use. Never leave open containers or mixtures in places where food is stored, prepared, or served, and avoid handling these fluids around or over food. Many chemicals are flammable, so avoid storing or opening or using them near open flames. Your restaurant should have an MSDS book with material safety data sheets listing hazards and handling procedures for every chemical used in your restaurant or food service operation. Humans aren't the only animals who like to eat. Insects and rodents can and will infest your food preparation and service areas if you let them. Even small crumbs will attract bugs and mice, so cleanliness is the first defense against infestation. During operating hours, always throw food scraps and unused items into approved trash receptacles. Wipe up spills immediately. Even trace elements of food can attract insects and rodents. At the end of every shift, clean all surfaces and equipment top to bottom, making sure to clean underneath tables and cooking equipment.
Empty trash often, never leaving overflowing trash containers or bags of trash on the floor. Trash containers should be covered or stored when not in use. Better yet, use self-closing trash containers whenever possible. Clean and sanitize trash receptacles and covers often.
Make sure your dumpster is as far away from the kitchen area as possible, with a heavy lid that prevents animals from opening. Cardboard is a prime nesting site for insects, so remove food items from their cardboard containers as soon as possible. And don't leave collapsed boxes in kitchen areas for recycling. Many food items can harbor insects and their eggs. Obviously, fruits and vegetables come from the earth, just like bugs do, but also grain and flours, and even finished baked goods can be easily infested. First, inspect food upon delivery. Then store it properly. Again, plastic bins or baskets are much better than cardboard boxes. And grain and flours should always be stored in sealed containers. Never store food items on the floor, even temporarily. Always put food on shelves or storage containers that are at least 6 inches off the ground. Seal containers and close all storage doors after each use. Make sure refrigerators and freezers seal properly. A mouse needs an opening the width of your pinky finger to get in. Flies and other insects are a constant threat to food safety and sanitation. If you have doors or windows open for ventilation, make sure they are screened and sealed properly. Screened doors should close automatically. If you see signs of infestation, let your supervisor know immediately, but do not discuss the issue in front of guests. Chances are, if you see one bug, there are many more you can't see. And a professional pest control company can show you many ways to prevent and fight infestation. Store traps and bait away from food items, and check traps frequently, disposing of used ones immediately. Biological contamination from foodborne pathogens is by far the most common form of food contamination. But unfortunately, this type of contamination is rarely obvious until it's too late. What are foodborne pathogens and where do they come from? Microscopic germs, bacteria, and spores are on us and around us all the time, on every surface we touch, in the air we breathe, and in almost everything we eat or drink. Most of these microscopic organisms are harmless, or they exist in such small numbers that the defenses in our body and its digestive system prevent them from making us sick. But some are not harmless,
and others, when allowed to multiply in food that is consumed, can cause serious illness or even death. People who are typically at greater risk are the young and elderly, whose defenses are not as strong. Certain types of food are more likely to carry or develop foodborne pathogens. Fresh seafood, for instance, if not refrigerated properly, can develop high levels of dangerous pathogens in a matter of minutes or hours. Raw meat such as chicken, pork, and uncooked beef, and especially hamburger, has been known to carry deadly pathogens that can multiply rapidly at unsafe temperatures. Other foods such as raw fruits and vegetables should be washed thoroughly using clean water and a vegetable brush to remove any pathogens. While they may be stored at room temperature, refrigeration will keep them fresh longer. Some surfaces and objects are notorious for transmitting foodborne pathogens. Wood-cutting boards and damp rags or towels have given way to plastic boards and paper towels in most kitchens. Foodborne pathogens have a difficult time living on hard, smooth surfaces such as ceramic tile and stainless steel, which have the added advantage of being easier to clean. The point is that your restaurant or food service operation is alive with germs, bacteria, and spores that can potentially cause a foodborne illness. How do we stop these organisms? First and foremost, cleanliness and sanitation.
The first line of defense against foodborne pathogens is to kill them and prevent their spread through effective strategies for cleanliness and sanitation. These strategies involve personal hygiene, as well as sensible procedures for cleaning and sanitizing utensils, surfaces, and areas used in food preparation and service.
If you are sick with an infectious disease, cold, flu, or any other illness, don't come to work. If you have a cut or wound, bandage and cover it securely, and wear a glove if it is on your hand. Shower, bathe, and wash your hair before work every day. Wear clean clothes that are free of stains and food debris, and roll up long sleeves that can absorb or trap food or fluids. Pull your hair back and secure it, wearing a hat and or hairnet. Avoid touching yourself or your hair when working with food. Wear a clean apron while preparing or serving food, and change it when it becomes soiled or damp. Don't use your apron to dry your hands or to wipe food debris. It creates an ideal place for pathogens to multiply. It is estimated that about 90% of foodborne pathogens are transmitted through handling of food. This means that the simplest way to prevent the spread of foodborne pathogens is to wash your hands, especially before you start work, anytime you touch your face, hair, or body, anytime you touch someone else, before handling food, after handling food, after going to the bathroom, after taking the trash out, after touching door handles. And washing your hands properly can take less than a minute. First, if you do not have a hands-free towel dispenser or air dryer, roll out your paper towel in advance. Then wet your hands with the hottest water you can comfortably stand. Use a liberal amount of soap and spread it between your fingers and hands all the way up to the wrist. Use a nail brush if necessary to clean fingernails. Do this for at least 20 seconds. Then rinse thoroughly to remove all soap residue. Use the towel to dry your hands, turn off the water, and open the door. This way your hands have not touched any potentially contaminated surfaces.
Another way of preventing the spread of foodborne pathogens is to wear gloves. There are many types of gloves, but the principle is the same, putting a barrier between your hands and food.
Here are the general rules for hand sanitation. First, always wash your hands before handling any food and before putting on gloves. Second, wear gloves whenever possible to put a barrier between your hands and food. Third, always wear gloves when handling ready-to-eat food, that is, food that will be eaten with no further cooking. But gloves can become contaminated too, so it's important to change them after contacting any potentially contaminated object or surface, when switching tasks, or if a glove becomes broken.
Be especially aware of the dangers of cross-contamination. When handling one food item transfers pathogens to another. Again, change gloves before you handle different foods. As we said earlier, your kitchen is covered with billions of potentially hazardous germs, bacteria, and spores. To kill them and fight them, you should clean and sanitize surfaces after each use and at the end of each shift. First, it is important to differentiate and define what we're talking about. Cleaning means to simply remove all visible dirt and debris. Sanitize refers to the reduction of microorganisms to the levels considered safe from a public health viewpoint. Disinfect refers to the destruction of all germs and bacteria, but not spores. Sterilize refers to the complete destruction and removal of all living organisms. Most tasks involve cleaning and sanitizing, but don't assume that just because you've cleaned something, it is sanitized too. For instance, wiping a table with a wet rag may clean the table, but not sanitize it, leaving billions of potentially hazardous pathogens behind. Likewise, wiping a knife and then reusing it may result in cross-contamination. This is why for almost all of the objects and surfaces used in food preparation and service, we follow a process that cleans and sanitizes. With service tables, the need to clean and sanitize the eating surface is balanced with the need to quickly turn a table for a new guest. Tables can be quickly cleaned and sanitized with a two-cloth process. When clearing the table, remove all plates, glassware, and serviceware, and then use a clean, hot, wet, soapy cloth to wipe off all crumbs, food particles, and spills. Then rinse the table with a cloth soaked in a sanitizing solution, or spray the table thoroughly with sanitizer. Simply let the surface air dry, or let the sanitizer sit at least 10 seconds before wiping with a clean, dry cloth. The two-cloth process can be used to quickly clean and sanitize service trays as well. Sanitizing cloths may be kept in a sanitizing solution of the proper concentration that is changed regularly. Be sure to label this container clearly. With service utensils, pots, pans, and other free washable kitchen equipment, this process translates to the 3-sink method. After cleaning and rinsing each sink compartment, fill the first sink with hot, soapy water, the second sink with warm, clean water, and the third sink with hot water and a sanitizing agent such as bleach, quat, or iodine, mixed to the correct ratio. Use test strips to check your concentration.
Wearing insulated gloves, clean the pots in the first sink using a brush or scouring pad to remove all food particles. Then rinse the item in the second compartment of clean water to remove soap residue. Finally, depending on the temperature and concentration of your sanitizer, soak the item in the third compartment for 10 to 30 seconds. Then let the item air dry on a clean rack or towel.
With stationary equipment such as slicers and mixers,
clean the surface with a clean, soapy cloth to remove all food particles and residue. Then spray or wipe with a sanitizing agent, letting the unit air dry. Most restaurants and food service operations have a mechanical dishwashing machine that automates the clean, rinse, sanitize process and also uses heat to kill all potentially hazardous foodborne pathogens. Dishes, glasses, and serviceware should be scraped and pre-washed using a sprayer or brush to remove all visible food particles. Eating utensils are typically soaked in a pre-washed solution to loosen food. Rack the plates, glasses, and serviceware in appropriate racks in preparation for the dishwashing machine. Make sure the dishwashing machine has sufficient detergent and drying agent. Also check the water temperature, which must reach 180 degrees Fahrenheit unless using a low temperature machine. When the wash cycle is completed, remembering to wash your hands and/or wear gloves before touching clean dishes, inspect the items for any leftover food or stains, then rewash as necessary. You may also need to shake excess water from the serviceware bins. Store the service items as soon as possible after they have dried. At the end of the day, or between shifts, you have an opportunity to thoroughly clean areas and equipment that are continuously in use during peak times. Work from top to bottom, starting with the ceilings and vent screens and working down to walls, shelves, countertops, and tables, and finishing with the floor. Clean food prep surfaces such as tables using hot water and soap to remove all food remnants. Then, sanitize the surface with a cloth saturated in a correctly mixed sanitizing solution. Allow the surface to air dry. Clean and sanitize all food preparation and service equipment, including slicers, mixers, and service trays. Process all dishes and tableware through the dishwasher and store items properly before leaving. Wash all pots, pans, and utensils. Then clean, rinse, and sanitize all sinks and the dishwashing area. Remove any standing water with a squeegee. Gather all clothes, towels, rags, aprons, and other washable items and process them as necessary. Lift, clean, and sanitize all floor mats and grates. Finally, sweep all hard floor surfaces in the kitchen area and vacuum carpeted floors in the service area. After taking the trash out, mop hard floor surfaces with hot water and a sanitizing agent.
While cleanliness and sanitation are your first line of protection, you must also be aware of the dangers that exist when food is received, stored, prepared, and served. First is the danger of cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination occurs when pathogens from one food contaminate another, often unintentionally and unnoticed. This can happen either directly or from contact with the same surface or object. For instance, this bag of chicken breast fillets, put in the refrigerator to thaw, will leak pathogens onto the lettuce on the shelf below used to make salads. Likewise, this knife used to trim steaks is casually wiped clean before slicing peppers for another dish, contaminating many servings and making guests sick. Fight cross-contamination by storing food safely and sanitize all preparation utensils before using. While checking food temperature is important to food safety, you must sanitize the food thermometer before each use to prevent cross-contamination. Also, your hands are the most common source of cross-contamination, so wash them thoroughly before handling each type of food, and re-glove when switching from one type of food to another.
Another way of battling the spread of foodborne pathogens is by carefully managing the temperatures of food when storing, preparing, and serving.
Freezing foods at temperatures below 0 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 18 degrees Celsius will temporarily stop the growth of foodborne pathogens, but not kill them. Refrigerating foods at temperatures below 41 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius will significantly slow their growth. And cooking foods at a sustained temperature above 135 degrees Fahrenheit or 58 degrees Celsius will kill them. This means that food held at temperatures between 41 degrees and 135 degrees Fahrenheit or between 5 and 58 degrees Celsius are ideal places for the multiplication and spread of foodborne illnesses. The longer food spends in this range, the greater chance that serious pathogens will contaminate the food and be passed along to guests.
This is the time and temperature danger zone, and a key strategy in food preparation and storage is to move all food through the danger zone as quickly as possible. Always inspect food upon delivery, and don't accept food that is substandard. Use your common sense and your senses to discover problems. Don't accept food with broken packaging, signs of moisture, or rusty, bulging cans. Is the frozen food frozen? Cold food cold enough? Use a thermometer to check. Is the expiration date too close? Does the food smell and look right, with good color and form? Even touch is important. Soft or mushy food can be a sign of spoilage. Look beneath the first row or top level. Store food immediately, never leaving food uncovered or in the open where contaminants can reach it. Never place food or boxes of food directly on the floor, where insects or rodents have easy access. If possible, remove cardboard or paper packaging that can be home to insects or their eggs.
Refrigerated food should be stored correctly, with prepared or ready-to-eat foods on higher shelves and uncooked or raw foods on lower shelves. If the food item can potentially drip or leak, place it in a hard container on the bottom shelf so it won't contaminate other food.
Date incoming stock if it is not already dated. Always rotating stock using the first in, first out method. Store frozen or refrigerated food immediately after receiving. Don't let it linger in the temperature danger zone.
Frozen food should be stored in a freezer with a constant temperature of 0 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 18 degrees Celsius. Our refrigerator should have a temperature of about 35 degrees Fahrenheit or 2 degrees Celsius, but no more than 41 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius.
Bad door seals or casually leaving doors open can affect food temperature and waste energy. Close freezers and refrigerators after each use, or employ thermal drapes for high-traffic doorways. Each freezer and refrigerator should have an easy-to-read thermometer so that you can check the temperature every time you store or remove a food item. Follow your operations policy of keeping a temperature log, letting your supervisor know immediately if the temperature varies. When thawing foods or cooking foods that are frozen, staying out of the danger zone is important. The safest way to thaw is to place frozen food in a refrigerator with a safe temperature of less than 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius. The food will thaw gradually. 10 pounds of frozen hamburger may take a day or two, so it's important to plan ahead. If you need to thaw foods more quickly, you can place frozen foods in a clean pan with continuously running cold water. Check on the food every 5 minutes, then remove and cook immediately when thawing is completed. If you need to thaw small quantities of food, you can use a microwave oven. Here the food should be placed in an open, microwave-safe plate or bowl and heated on low or thaw setting. Because microwaves heat food unevenly,
some parts of the food will enter the temperature danger zone while thawing. For this reason, use microwave thawing only when the food will be cooked immediately. You may also heat frozen items directly, thawing as you cook. In this case, remember that not all parts of frozen food will cook evenly, so use high heat and turn the food often. Make sure that the food is completely cooked inside and out before serving. Use a food thermometer to check, being sure to sanitize the thermometer before each use. Keep in mind that just because a food item is pre-cooked doesn't mean that it is safe from foodborne pathogens. Whether delivered frozen or refrigerated, a pre-cooked item can develop foodborne pathogens just like a raw food item when left in the temperature danger zone. This goes for restoring cooked food as well. Cooking kills pathogens, but exposure to air, moisture, and the temperature danger zone will contaminate food. So date and refrigerate cooked foods promptly. When cooking food, you should bring the food through the temperature danger zone as quickly as possible. Some cooking methods, such as boiling, baking, and deep frying, quickly bring interior temperatures above the danger zone. But with other cooking methods, such as braising, broiling, and pan frying, you must be certain that the interior of the food product has reached a safe temperature before serving. Many restaurants no longer offer rare cooking options for this reason. Use a food thermometer in the thickest or coldest part of the food to check, being sure to sanitize the thermometer before each use. This is especially important with seafood and meat. The recommended safe temperature that cooked food must reach varies from 145 degrees Fahrenheit for pork to 165 degrees for poultry. Before cooking or serving, consult your approved food temperature chart and use a sanitized thermometer to check the final cooking temperature. The same caution with temperature should be taken when preparing cold foods such as salads, dressings, and sauces. Refrigerate them after preparing, and make sure that any pre-cooked ingredients are cooled to safe temperatures before mixing. For instance, the diced chicken in a chicken salad should be cooled before mixing with other ingredients. When serving food, care should be taken to keep food out of the temperature danger zone. And this means keeping cold foods cold and hot foods hot. In the kitchen, stir food items that are continuously served, such as mashed potatoes and soup, so that an even heat is maintained. Likewise, monitor the temperature of steam tray items to ensure they are fully cooked and above the temperature danger zone. Don't plate food until all items are ready, using warmed plates if possible. Use a heat lamp or warming tray to keep plated food hot while awaiting service to the table. Serve food as soon as possible after it is prepared. If many plates are being served at once, as in a banquet situation, use plate covers to maintain heat and protect the food. Salads, dressings, and other cold items should be refrigerated or stored on ice until serving. Physical covering of food items and serving bowls is important. Pathogens can be transmitted through the air, so covers and barriers help shield food. When restoring food items for later use, remember the temperature danger zone and bring food down to safe temperatures as quickly as possible. Place items in the freezer or refrigerator immediately, remembering that containers cool from the outside first, while inside may still be in the danger zone. For this reason, use smaller containers if possible, and stir larger containers with clean spoons while cooling. With large containers, you may use an ice bath or ice insert to bring food temperatures down more rapidly, being careful not to use ceramic or glass containers that can crack. When cooled, be sure to label and date restored items.
And don't cool and reheat food items more than once, as they may accumulate too much time in the temperature danger zone.
Likewise, once you've opened a sealed item and used part of its contents, clearly mark the opening date and monitor freshness before using again. As with all food, when in doubt, throw it out.
Buffets and salad bars offer some special challenges to food safety and sanitation. Cold items should be kept in a bed of ice or in mechanically refrigerated trays. Hot items should be kept warm with direct heat or in a steam tray. Check the water levels when attending food, as water will evaporate. Check temperatures of hot and cold food frequently,
being sure to sanitize the thermometer before each use.
Always rotate food, placing the older food on top so that it will be eaten first. Serving utensils should stay in the food to keep at safe temperatures, or be set in a small dish near the food and replaced frequently. Continuous care should be taken to remove spilled food items and clean the surfaces around serving dishes using a clean side towel. The serving shield or sneeze guard should be kept clean and sanitized, taking care not to spray or drip cleaning agents into the food. Finally, instruct guests to use clean, fresh plates for second servings. Every food service operation is unique, and you should learn and follow the policies and procedures of your establishment. Use the principles of food safety and sanitation presented in this program to prepare and serve wholesome, safe food, and protect your coworkers, yourself, and your business. Good luck.